Hey guys, I hope you're out doing something you love today and that you're having a better day than me. I went down to the river and went swimming, and I laid out on the sand and took a nap, and yeah, it was pretty bad. But at any rate, I've got to run into town and take care of mailing some packages, so I'm going to try and keep this one relatively brief today, although I'm going to talk about everything I need to. I'm just not going to do all the crazy camera angles and stuff. So at any rate, for today's BirdDogg, we're going to talk about my very first water relic and what happened, what got me into water hunting, etc., etc. Here we go. So in order to tell the story of my first water relic, I have to kind of start at the beginning. I got interested in water hunting from watching Bo's videos, Aqua Cheglet. There he is, can you chig it? And like many other people, I was just so amazed by the stuff he was finding. And I'd been metal detecting for a long time, but had never tried getting in the water. So I bought myself an AT Pro, and I bought my dad an AT Pro. And I called my dad, and I told him that I had bought myself one. I didn't tell him I had bought him one. And I said, hey, why don't we go to this spot? And we both knew of the spot where there should be some Civil War artillery shells in the water. And he said, okay. I said, well, I got a metal detector that'll be good in the water, and we can walk along together, and maybe we'll find something. And so he said, okay, well, let's meet up. And I drove out and met him, and got out of the truck, and I said, hey, I got something for you. And I pulled out his brand new metal detector for him. I said, here you go, happy birthday, Merry Christmas, every other holiday coming up. And he was blown away, of course, by the gift. And we went out to the river, and we got in, we started hunting. And I found that day one little brass picture frame, which I wasn't too excited about. But my dad found half of a Civil War cannonball, a Borman shell, with the underplug still in it. So we left that day feeling like it was a success. We were both just like, oh my gosh, there really are relics in the water. And I came home, and I wanted so bad to go find something. So I left that day, and I headed back home, and I was super excited for Dad, but I wanted to get out there and find my first Civil War relic in the water. And so I headed out the very next day to a Civil War camp I knew, and I got all my gear on, and I went down in the creek, and I crossed the creek, and the very first good signal I got was a high squeaker. And I started to dig it out, and I set all my gear down, and I came back, and the water had cleared a little bit, and I saw just the back of it. And what I saw was this. It was a dark shape in the water. And I reached down, and it felt heavy. I thought it was a Coke can lid, but it felt heavy. I picked it up and flipped it over, and it was a beautiful eagle breastplate from the American Civil War. And it is marked on the back with the W.H. Smith Brooklyn, New York maker's mark. And you can also see on the back where it's scratched up where the soldier had worn it, and it had probably worn against his buttons. Needless to say, I was astounded, and I was immediately hooked on water hunting. I spent the rest of the day walking that creek, and according to the dig log, I found one other bullet that day in the creek, one Civil War bullet in the creek, and the rest of the day I found trash. But I went back to that creek and found a lot more bullets and other relics there, and there's videos of all that. In fact, there's a video of immediately after I found this breastplate. I was in shock, and I shot a short video, and I'll put the link to that right here so that you guys can check it out if you want. But it was actually my first YouTube video. So that was my first water relic and my first YouTube video that I posted. I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit more about it. If you did, share, subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow.